All right, folks, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the most controversial, mind-bending, and potentially paradigm-shifting topics of our time. Today's episode is all about the Contagion Myth, a book by Dr. Thomas Cowan and Sally Fallon Morell that challenges everything we've been told about viruses, disease, and the very foundation of modern medicine. If you're ready to have your worldview rocked, stick around. Let's start with the big question. What if viruses aren't the cause of disease? I know. It sounds crazy. We've been told for over a century that germs, bacteria, and viruses are the bad guys, the invaders that make us sick. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the germ theory, the idea that microorganisms cause disease, isn't just incomplete, but fundamentally wrong? That's the bombshell claim at the heart of the Contagion Myth. The authors take us back to the origins of germ theory, starting with Louis Pasteur, the man often credited as the father of modern microbiology. But here's the kicker. Pasteur wasn't exactly the hero we've been led to believe. According to Cowan and Fallon Morell, Pasteur's experiments were riddled with fraud. He couldn't prove that bacteria or viruses caused disease in a way that met the scientific standards of his time, standards known as Koch's postulates. These postulates are like the gold standard for proving that a microorganism causes a specific disease. And guess what? No virus or bacteria has ever fully met these criteria. Not one. But wait, it gets even wilder. The authors argue that what we've been calling viruses might actually be something else entirely. Exosomes. These are tiny particles that our cells produce naturally, especially when they're under stress or exposed to toxins. Exosomes aren't invaders, they're messengers. They help our cells communicate and detoxify. So, when we see these particles in sick people, it's not because they're causing the illness. It's because the body is trying to heal itself. Mind blown. Now let's talk about 5G and electromagnetic fields, EMFs. This is where things get really controversial. The authors draw a fascinating connection between the rollout of new technologies, like radio waves, radar, and now 5G, and the timing of major disease outbreaks. For example, the Spanish flu of 1918 coincided with the widespread installation of radio antennas, and today the introduction of 5G networks seems to align with the COVID-19 pandemic. Coincidence? Maybe. But the authors argue that EMFs disrupt our cells' electrical processes, leading to symptoms that we mistake for viral infections. Think about it. If our bodies are essentially electrical systems, and they are, then bombarding them with high-frequency radiation could throw everything out of whack. This might explain why so many COVID-19 symptoms, like respiratory distress and blood clotting, resemble the effects of electrical toxicity. And it's not just 5G. The authors point out that every major technological leap, from the telegraph to electricity to cell phones, has been followed by new waves of illness. Food for thought, right? But let's not stop there. The book also dives into the role of nutrition and toxins in disease. Spoiler alert, it's huge. The authors argue that modern diets, loaded with processed foods, vegetable oils, and sugar, are starving our cells and making us more vulnerable to illness. On the flip side, traditional foods like raw milk, bone broth, and fermented vegetables are packed with nutrients that strengthen our bodies and protect us from harm. And let's not forget about toxins. From glyphosate in our food to aluminum in vaccines, we're constantly bombarded with substances that weaken our systems and make us sick. This brings us to vaccines. The authors don't hold back here. They argue that vaccines are based on a flawed understanding of immunity and that they often do more harm than good. For example, they point out that the polio vaccine was linked to a rise in cases of vaccine-induced paralysis. And the measles vaccine? Well, according to the book, there's no solid evidence that the measles virus even exists. In fact, a German court ruled in 2016 that there's no proof of the measles virus, yet we're still vaccinating millions of kids for it. Talk about a scandal. So, what's the takeaway from all this? The authors aren't just trying to tear down the existing medical paradigm. They're offering a new way of thinking about health and disease. Instead of blaming germs, they suggest we focus on terrain theory, the idea that disease arises from imbalances in the body's internal environment. This means eating nutrient-dense foods, avoiding toxins, and reducing our exposure to EMFs. It's about creating a body that's resilient and capable of healing itself. And let's not forget the power of consciousness. The authors argue that fear, stress, and negative emotions can literally make us sick. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with fear-based messaging about pandemics, about climate change, about everything, it's no wonder so many of us feel unwell. The solution? Cultivate love, trust, and positivity. Easier said than done, I know, but it's a powerful reminder that our mental and emotional states play a huge role in our physical health. All right, let's wrap this up. The Contagion Myth is a bold, provocative, and deeply researched book that challenges us to rethink everything we've been told about health and disease. Whether you agree with all of its claims or not, it's impossible to ignore the questions it raises. Are viruses really the enemy? Is modern medicine helping us or harming us? And what can we do to take back control of our health? I'll leave you with this. The next time you hear someone say, "It's just a virus," remember that there's always more to the story. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep questioning everything. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
In a world of codes, screens, and lights, hidden truths wear digital masks. City of the binary nights, awake from the programmed tasks. Eyes open wide to the glitch in the seams. Planets got the mirror cage. Truth isn't what it seems. Find yourself beyond the digital age. Break the matrix, break the mold. Riddles in the coding unfold.